Governor, interesting spot that we're in today as we get ready to see a vote on the House floor. What are your thoughts?
Well, to quote Greta Thunberg, I would say to Chuck Schumer, how dare you? And here's why. I mean, he said nothing during the entire time that the House was rejecting any idea that the Republicans would get a chance to hear from key witnesses, whether it was the whistleblower, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, James Comey, John Brennan, go through the whole list. They wouldn't hear from any of them. And now Chuck Schumer, seriously, is demanding that he gets to call witnesses for this sham. I'm embarrassed for him, Harris. I can't believe that he would have the audacity to think that people will take him seriously, knowing that it is his party that refused to let any witnesses that are truly material witnesses to this process be heard over in the House Judiciary Committee.
Well, you know, we're watching now in new Fox polling that the president's approval rating, Governor, has ticked up 3 points as he's begun to get some things done in the face of possible impeachment, something that we saw Bill Clinton do. So what advice would you suggest for the president at this point? I mean, should he get involved in this process if and when it moves to the Senate?
Not that much. I think he keeps doing what he's doing. Monitoring this record stock market that we just saw today hit a whole new high. The USMCA deal is going to produce hundreds of thousands of jobs, if not millions. Great boost to the economy. Talk about the wage increases that everyone has gotten, and the fact that women and minorities, Hispanics, blacks, have all had the highest job levels in history. There are some wonderful stories to tell. Donald Trump has gotten rid of 7 regulations for everyone that's been passed. That's a big part of what makes the economy soar right now. He's got plenty to talk about. I think let surrogates, other people talk about the impeachment process, because most Americans have already made up their minds, and if there's a dozen or so in the entire country that haven't, I doubt that anything anyone says is going to swing them one way or the other.
So you must be clairvoyant. Because as we look at this new Fox poll, again, and this one I want to pop up on the screen, it shows that voters' minds appear relatively unchanged on impeachment despite the public impeachment hearing. So you say that the president needs to let surrogates talk. Who are the Democrats going to let talk? Because their argument doesn't seem to be moving the needle.
Well, I hope they'll let the people talk that have been talking. They've been real effective for the Republicans, whether it's Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff. These are Maxine Waters. These are great spokespeople for their party, but they're doing an extraordinary service to Republicans because when you hear them, they really can't come up with a grounds for impeachment. And this has been such a moving target. I think they've embarrassed themselves, but they're in a corner. They can't back out. They've got to go through with this nonsense. And I'm convinced that before it's all over, there are going to be a lot of what I would call just fair-minded Democrats across the country who say, come on, the guy got elected. You didn't present anything that was impeachable. Yeah. Just let him do his job.
Well, and some of them may, is what we're finding out, exist in the Senate. I mean, what we have to figure out is, you know, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. How are some of these more moderate Democrats going to vote on impeachment? It could be harder for Democrats than they even know. They don't expect to win there anyway because Mitch McConnell says he's got the majority there should the trial go. I do want to ask you about this, though, Governor. A group of freshman Democrats now are looking to draft an independent congressman, Justin Amash, remember he used to be a Republican, as the impeachment manager in an effort to reach some conservatives who remain unconvinced about the proceedings. Amash, who left the Republican Party just earlier this year, apparently is open to that idea. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm not at all surprised that Amash would want it. He loves the spotlight. It's one of the reasons he left the Republicans. Wasn't getting enough attention. He's a never-Trumper. Doesn't like the president. This would be one way he could stick it to the president. But I think what he's going to do is stick it to himself. This is frankly, a gun pointed at his own head, not at the president's. And I think he'll do it. I think the Democrats are smart to ask him because then they can pretend that this is showing that it's not just a partisan issue. But the fact is, the real concern for the Democrats, not one Republican will vote with them. There has never been an impeachment that was this partisan, that was this overwhelmingly railroaded. And so they own that. And they're going to continue to own that right through the election of 2020.
Yeah, and it seems like our country is right there mirroring what we see on Capitol Hill with regard to that. I'll give you last word.
Well, it is polarized. There's no doubt about that, and it will be throughout most of the election. However, I think once the Democrats have chosen a candidate and people have a clear choice between whether it's a Bernie Sanders socialist or a gaffe-ridden Joe Biden, and this president who has gotten things done that neither of these guys ever were able to get done all their years at the Senate. They've been there for decades. I think it starts evening out, and people ask themselves, okay, so I don't like Donald Trump's personality or some of his Twitter feed, but by golly, I like where this country is going, and I like what it's meant to me and my family, and that's going to be the decision that a lot of people will make when it comes time to vote.
Interesting. You know, I noticed you didn't mention the billionaire Michael Bloomberg. There are a lot of Democrats that are in there. Governor, great to see you today. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Harris.